Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, Angel Ribo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is co-hosting with our dear Judy Hoperman. Judy is the president of Walking on a Glass Floor and Selling in a Skirt. She is an international speaker, trainer, executive coach, author, and radio show host. They're going to be interviewing Yvonne Basten. She is a women advocate. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit from the content that we're going to be discussing here today. Also, while we are live streaming, like right now, we have the active chat, the screen that you're going to be seeing here on my side or under the video in case that you're following us from a smartphone. And through there, you can interact with us. You can enter your questions. We please ask you to follow the format, word question in caps, and the actual question in relation with the conference that we're going to be having today. We also want you to collaborate with Mindalia, bringing your own valuable content. And for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find a link that says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team will be getting in contact with you. Remember, you can collaborate with Mindalia in English through Mindalia TV English, as you know, but you can also do it in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão and in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión. We want you to visit our different platforms to check our Facebook pages and Instagram's account, find out everything that is being shared on a daily basis, information as beautiful and as interesting as the one that you see daily on Mindalia TV. We are not going to be delaying this any further, and I'm going to be leaving you with Angel, Judy, and Yvonne. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna, for this wonderful introduction. And welcome back, Judy. How are you today?
I'm great.
Excuse me, I stopped hearing you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, excellent. Thank you. I'm pumped.
You're pumped. Like we're pumped every week. We have these most amazing people that our conversations are so rich and valuable that it's incredible. So should we talk about who's on the show today?
Oh yes, please. You know, every week we bring someone that brings a new perspective.
Absolutely.
And today we not only have a new perspective, which is actually an international perspective, but also I would say it's a perspective. Now that we are a little bit cold here in Texas, we can say that this new perspective comes also from a colder place today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So please go ahead and introduce our lovely guest today.
So our guest is Yvonne Basten. She has a company called Yvonne Basten Consulting, and her focus is running mastermind groups for female entrepreneurs. She is also an executive managing director for the Calgary, which is the cold part, eWomen Network chapter. And it's actually a North American organization. And they're based right here where we are in Dallas. She is a tremendous advocate for women. She does believe that women need to be seen and heard. And she really fights for the right to make sure that these women that she works with do have that ability. She was born in the Netherlands, and now she is in that cold place in Calgary. But most importantly, she's my friend, and she's my greatest cheerleader. And she's also part of the amazing team that we put together about women in leadership and the men that champion them. And of course, Angel, you're a part of that, a major part of that. And so I'm excited to have Yvonne here.
Welcome to Mindalia, Yvonne.
Thank you so much for having me, Angel and Judy.
And mastermind is a powerful word. Mastermind is a powerful word, and mastermind is a place where the greatness of several people that have challenges and at the same time have had different experiences in the world, unite and meet, and a lot of synergy and a lot of greatness is being created. I would like to ask to start our conversation talking about exactly that. What has your experience been? Masterminding, women entrepreneurial, skills among women throughout your life, Yvonne?
Thank you, Angel. That's a great question. What I find is that when we gather as a group, women find out that they often face the similar issues. So I work with a lot of solopreneurs who work from home, oftentimes in a basement office type setting, and they work on their business and do the best they can with what they have and the knowledge that they have. And oftentimes they find themselves slamming their forehead in the wall, as I often say it, and they feel sometimes that it can't get any flatter than it already is, because they're frustrated. They're seeking for looking for answers. They want to move their business ahead, but they sometimes miss key components, key knowledge pieces, etc. And when they come together in a mastermind setting, they find out, well, for starters, they're not the only one. They're not the only one that are having those type of issues. And together, collaboratively, they can figure out some of the answers, because there's always somebody who's just a little bit further ahead on the path, or has had different experiences already, and they they will freely share, which is always the key of masterminding. Like you don't hold back. You just share the knowledge so everybody can benefit from it. And even within the sharing, you can always learn yourself by whatever comes rolling out of your mouth, or what the feedback you get from others.
Well, it's interesting, because a lot of people, when they think of masterminding, they think of that it's really group coaching, and it's two totally different things. And you, as the facilitator of a mastermind, has a different role than as somebody that's doing group coaching. So I know there's a lot of people listening, male and female, but there's a lot of women listening that may not understand what the difference is, because they think, let's get together as a group, and so we're going to be group coaching, but that's not what this is. So can you talk about the differences and what your role is? Because your role is huge in both, but in masterminding especially.
In masterminding, I'm facilitating the conversation, and which is totally different from coaching, because when you coach people, you basically tell them what to do, and and where to go, and where to find the information, and to just go out and figure it out. Whereas when I facilitate a mastermind, I facilitate the conversation, and I oftentimes know the background of some of or most of the participants within the mastermind. So if they don't think of it themselves, I can even direct the conversation to a particular person and say, hey, I'm pretty sure you've dealt with this in the past, or you've stumbled upon this. Can you can you share a bit with the group, about what that experience was like, and what you've learned from it, and how you can, what advice you can give to the others who are having similar issues. So it's more of a facilitating type role than actually, and guiding the conversation than coaching them.
They have become, actually, masterminds have become really, really popular these days. I think that there's also confusion. You just mentioned a few, ideas of what it is and what it is not. And when it comes, when we come to specifically women, let's say women-focused masterminds, do you find often that gender equality is an issue? Do you find that there's issues related to the fact that the people in your mastermind are mainly women?
No, I find it personally, I just really enjoy working with women, and it's not that I don't enjoy men and being around men. It's just that I find that women just open up more when they are in a group with just women. They don't feel like they have to hold back, because sometimes there's emotions involved. Definitely when people feel that they they're not good enough, or they can I really do this, and so women, I think around the doubt piece and feeling like they they want to share those kind of things. But if there is a man in the group, then they feel like they can't do that, because they don't want to look like they're being considered weak, or like a whatever terms you want to use in that respect. So for me, I think it's I create always a very safe container, and I always treat it as what happens in this room, whether it's a virtual room or a literal room. It's safe to be who you are and what you need to say. oftentimes women, I find, will come from an angle of, I'll fake it till I make it, I'm fine, everything is great. And on the inside, they're deeply hurting because of, the frustrations. I think emotions play a bigger role within women. And so they need to have a safe space where they can let those emotions out without being judged. And that's where the seen and heard part really comes in, that they feel that they're being acknowledged. And yes, it's sometimes hard. Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. So, and there's moments where, you just want to throw that towel in the ring and go like, okay, sorry, tapping out here. And then, there's a group, if there's a group where you can come to and share even those type of thoughts, that it's okay to do that, and that other people will, hold you up and, help you dust yourself off and keep you going.
So do you go into topics other than business? Do you go into something like if you present a topic as today we're going to talk about confidence, or today we're going to talk about leadership, or whatever. Do you present stuff that is not just business?
Yes.
Maybe I'm not even talking about work-life balance, like just any struggles that a woman might find. Do you go into things that are not business? Because a lot of people think masterminds are really just business, because otherwise they become like the mommy bloggers and they're not really talking about anything but diapers.
Right.
So is there anything, what kind of other topics do you talk about that generate these valuable conversations that women really need to have somebody to talk to?
Yeah, I do address different topics because I think it's important to have a little bit of a mix of both. Yes, it's a mastermind that is focused on business. However, I do firmly believe that, life and business go hand in hand. They're not exclusive. So it's not, like you're only focusing on business and that's all there is, because you also have a life alongside of your business. And there's stuff that happens within your life that will at times affect your business and being in business. So, definitely moms that have children and or an aging parent, or, there's so many, or a bad marriage or whatever it is, right? Like there's so many different aspects to life that do affect your business when you run your own business. So I do go into different topics, courage, vulnerability, those type of things. I don't necessarily address them, as a topic. It's usually something that is integrated within the conversation, because I let the conversations roll fairly organically. And then different things will pop up. And sometimes, people just need that support in that personal area so they can redirect and refocus back onto their business.
Let me throw a curveball at you, if I may. How can we? I guess this is a question that you have already asked yourself, but I would love our audience to have your perspective about it, and also yours, Judy. How can we use this emotional power? You said probably women need a safe space. How can we use, and how can we like put that in a positive note, and how can we use that to help women thrive in their lives and in their businesses?
Who's it for?
For both of us, I think.
I know.
Yeah, we can start, Yvonne.
Well, the emotions that women have, you can't ignore those. They are there. Some women, for me, the key is to get a person out of the emotion that they're stuck in, so that they can actually, pick up the ball again and run off, instead of being stuck in the emotion that they were in, because that's not very helpful. So if we can give them, if I can give them different perspectives, and that's, part of the group will do that as well, to say, hey, listen, this may, feel really bad right now. And, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And, here's some strategies or things that you can do for yourself to pull yourself out of it. Because, reality is, like, you have that emotion. I can't do anything for you other than, being supportive and giving you ideas and suggestions to move through it. And that's, what I focus on. I don't like I don't want to give them permission to dwell in it. I said, you can stay in an emotion for a certain amount of time, and then you need to snap out of it and move on next. And that might sound a little harsh, but it's life, right? Life does go on, and with or without your emotions. So it's just a matter of seeing that you can move on past certain things.
Well, it's funny you say the word next, Yvonne, because I used to have a purple sign. It was the word next in purple glitter and whatever. And when I was in insurance and all my agents would say, everybody's a diabetic, nobody has any money, I would just hold it up. I would just hold it up. And after a while, I didn't even need to hold it up. I would just make the motion and they go, we know, next. Because it was just like it was enough already. Really, stop whining.
Yeah.
Not everybody's a diabetic. Not everybody doesn't have money. Not everybody. So just next.
Mm-hmm.
But in answer to the question, though, Angel, one of the things that I find with the emotions of the women is sometimes in a mastermind group, when you take these emotions, I personally believe that everybody, male or female, should have a personal board of directors. And so when you take these emotions and you start to feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I'm great at that, or whatever, you have to find the people, and sometimes it is part of your mastermind, sometimes it's outside of it. You find the people that can fill the spaces that you lack, and that you're able to, go forward by having somebody else in there. So you fill this board of directors. Like I always tell people, you should always have an attorney, you should always have a CPA or somebody that's in your circle as your board of directors that you can reach out to. Then you have to have influencers that may have gone through what you've already gone through and are there to support you. And because someone's going to ask you to be on their board of directors because you're at that 1 step forward or 10 steps forward. So you take those emotions and you're able to harness them because you've got these other people that fill that, hold that space for you, that fill those voids that you don't have, that you have, so you don't have them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Wonderful, thank you. So going back to the mastermind discussion and about emotions, because I think emotions is energy. At the end of the day, we are human beings, and we just see each other's bodies, but at the end of the day also we're energy, and emotions is sometimes, as you said, next, move on. It's energy that has been there stuck somehow, and we have to move forward. Do you think that and to what Judy said before, we are blessed enough to be part of the Walking on the Glass Floor initiative, and we are able to help individuals and professionals and companies to treat women equally, and to bring diversity and inclusion to the forefront of their strategy. Do you think that men also, when they play with their emotions, when they tend to maybe not allow them to surface when they are around women in corporations or even in masterminds? What has been your experience?
I don't have a ton of experience around that, in the sense that I've, like my masterminds have been purely females. However, just in my life experience, I do know, I'm fully aware that there's more and more men that are willing to show emotion, which is a good thing, because, like you were actually alluding to a few seconds ago, that, emotions getting stuck is not a good thing, whether you're a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. And, you need to deal with them in some way, shape, or form. And there's no shame. Like, I'm hoping that the days are over that, how men grew up and it was not cool to cry, that, that those times are passing a little bit, right? I'm not saying, you need to be sobbing in the boardroom as a guy, but, it's okay to, to show some sort of emotion. And, like the first time that I saw my father cry was when, we were standing at his mother's grave. I'd never, ever in my life seen my dad cry. And so I think it's not very healthy, for people to really bottle up those emotions. And I don't care what outlet you have, or what way you use, whether it's talking to a buddy, or feeling safe with a friend, or doing a lot of sports, but having some sort of an outlet to show that. Whether that will actually show up in a boardroom, I don't know. I doubt it, but
I tend to agree with that because I don't think that men really feel that comfortable being emotional. I think they're more comfortable collaborating. I think they're more comfortable in, inviting in. I just don't think that part has gotten there as yet. It's still a little bit, more a female thing to be emotional. But I do believe that they are seeing the reality that they have to use the softer skills. And I'll tell you something. I did a talk, and at the end of the talk, the room was filled. And this gentleman stood up and he said, can I ask you a personal question? And you have to be careful when somebody says, can I ask you a personal question? And so I said, sure, And he said, you talk about men championing women. How do you do that? I want to be one. So right then and there, he showed his emotions without being emotional. And I naturally assumed, air quote, that everybody would know how to be a champion. Why wouldn't you know how to be a champion? You open up doors, and I don't mean a literal door, but you bring in opportunities, you do all of these things. Why wouldn't you know how to do this? Was what I was saying in here. But outside, I was thinking, okay, so there's more and more men that want to do this, but they don't know how. And so I think that it may not be an emotional outlet, but I think there are more men that want to be part of what's happening in the world. I mean, would you agree, Angel, that there's more men that want to be champions than maybe we even see?
Yes, I think that things are changing, but it depends on where, right? It depends on which setup. At corporations, I think it's something that's going slowly. It really depends on the leaders of that particular organization, if they really want to express, a very, very clear message. So this is where we are going, and this is what we are going to do. I was just reading a few reports earlier today on LinkedIn about the marketplace, the job marketplace, and most of, at least here in the U.S., most of the new jobs are being actually taken by women, and a lot of them by millennials. I don't know if you saw that, like massively. It's like incredible the amount of jobs that are right now being taken by women. So, like it or not, organizations will have to adapt, and that will have to happen no matter what. Otherwise, obviously,
they'll be left behind.
It's not gonna be exactly making sense that your corporations and you're surrounded by women and you're still on a all place. But at that question from your audience, Judy, when a man very genuinely was asking that, exactly, he was exposing himself, and probably he was a very successful man, that he had a good position, but he still wanted to ask the question, and that comes also from recognizing that I'm so focused on what I do that something so obvious as how can I support a colleague of mine, I still don't know exactly how to do it better. So I think that the answers are like very simple and very easy, but the only reason why probably we don't know what the answers are, how can we do it, is because we just don't focus our energy on trying to find that response and answer, and doing it the right way. But it's much more easy than, exactly. I mean, open a door is like, besides a little thing, open a door is something really, really easy. And collaboration, you mentioned collaboration. I think that we tend to be on a competitive place all the time. Maybe we should go to mindfulness, right? We should go to stay present and just try to be outside of your ego, and then put yourself in a position, and we're going to collaborate here because we're an organization, we have the same goal, and we want to row in the same direction. How would you, or what would you say it's the number one challenge that women face when you are helping them, Yvonne, when they come to you and when you mastermind with them?
For a lot of them, it's cash flow. Yeah, having good cash flow coming in on a regular basis, and a lot of them, time management. They because so many people are juggling so many different things, and so to figure out how to live their life, in a more, smooth manner, that it's, so those are big topics that come up, often, how to, properly run social media without it turning into this huge rabbit hole, those kind of things, because you can spend, 5 minutes, which, then turns into an hour on Facebook, and,
now it's 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and half your day is gone. So, so those are, often topics that pop up. But it's, finding clients, retaining clients, how do I build programs? Those are often things that will come up.
It's funny. I do a virtual mastermind for a company, and we were talking about time management because it's a big sales company. And so their number one concern, like you're saying, is how do they find leads? How do they generate leads and all of this? And we were in about 15, 20 minutes, and this woman who is a leader in the company comes in late. Okay. Yeah. And so everybody was like, and she apologized. Now remember, this is virtual. So I'm on this giant screen and everybody else is in this room, and she apologized. And she said, but I have to tell you something funny. Now I'm on a big screen, so I have to have like a poker face. You can't, roll your eyes or anything. You just have to be really, And so she said, I need to apologize. She said, right next door, there's a room of managers, and they're all men. And so I went there because I'm a manager, and they said, oh, you don't need this, honey, because this is about how to talk to women, and you already know how to do that. So you can go. And okay, that's what they told her. So I said to her, okay, so how does that make you feel? She said, you think because I'm a woman, I know how to talk to women? Do you think that I wouldn't learn anything? Or maybe I could, support who's in that room. And so I thought, there. And so our entire conversation switched. Mm-hmm. Just whole thing switched about how that was, silly of them. Here they had somebody who was going to give diversity of thought, and they didn't even take it. And so sometimes, people are not open, male and female. Sometimes you're just not open. But, I agree that, we're saying collaboration, and we're saying be open and all these other things and open the doors. But sometimes you have to see what's right in front of you and take advantage of that opportunity. That was a huge opportunity for that room full of men. Huge. And they didn't take it.
Yeah, it's fascinating, for sure.
Yep.
And, it shows that we still have a long way to come, and to go with,
Hey, I would like that you share with the audience, what made Yvonne, do what you do today? Where do you come from? What made you end up doing what you do today?
Oh, that's a good question. My journey has been, initially my first part of my life, I was married and I lived overseas. I'm originally Dutch by birth, as you heard in my introduction, and I traveled and lived all over the world, and in most places I was not able to work because the work permit was for my then husband. A lot of the things I think that we do and why we do it is because of the way that we grew up and the journey that we have traveled. And for me, the whole being seen and heard comes from actually from my youth, from growing up, not really being seen and heard by my parents, and that's my perception. I know that there's family members in my family that have a different opinion around that, and that's totally fine. It is my perception. You can't take that away from me. And that's why the whole being seen and heard and that we matter is so important to me, because I had the experience of that. I lived that throughout my growing up years, and as I was progressing in life, I also felt not seen and heard in my marriage, and so hence there is an X in front of his name, and yeah, and then my journey just kept on going, and I got the opportunity to become a managing director for eWomen Network, which is a North America-wide networking organization for women entrepreneurs, and which gave me an opportunity to, connect women with other women, and to, give them that, being seen and heard opportunity. And because I think that's just, everybody's craving for that. Everybody wants to know that they're seen and that they're heard and that they matter. And so that's kind of the journey that I've traveled with that. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. You absolutely did. What would you say was one of those defining moments in your life that made you do what you do? Besides you've talked about your marriage and your husband and your international career, why eWomen Network?
I was already a member of the organization before I was asked to become a managing director. So I was part of the Calgary chapter here for about, I want to say, 4 or 5 years before the then managing director approached me and said, I need to step down it was actually for health reasons. And would you consider to become the managing director? So for me, I saw that as an opportunity. It was definitely, the universe kind of calling me and saying, hey, I'm putting this on your path. And I didn't have to think about it for very long, because I do love to lead. I love to lead from in front of the room. I love to, share my knowledge and experiences with others, whoever wants to listen, and be supportive to, to those who are around me. And that's what I was offered, and what's helped me step into that. And I've not regretted it. It's almost 7 years that I've been the managing director, and I truly enjoy it. I truly enjoy supporting the women, and giving them, my love and my heart and my support, my knowledge. So that's where I come from.
And she's an influencer, because people do look up to her. They do listen to her. And by the way, that's how we met. We met through eWomen.
That's very, very true.
Yeah. So
what kind of support women typically are looking for when they join the eWomen Network?
For some, it can be as simple as, it gets me out of the house. Because if they're a solopreneur and they work out of their basement office, it's a way to connect with the outside world. For some, it can be as simple as that. And then, they, of course, the benefits of being part of an organization like that. It's because every meeting we have a speaker, so there's always a knowledge component to it, where they can learn and grow together. We laugh a lot, but it's also the support system. It's to me, I don't always like to use the word sisterhood, because I know that some people out there kind of go like, is this like a kumbaya, type organization? It's totally not. It's a business, networking organization for women. However, there is, the bond, the connection, the support, knowing that there's other people there that have your back, that you can count on, rely on. We have, for instance, a private Facebook group where people can ask questions and find the support, that they're looking for.
Well, that means that you're continuously in touch with women that have their own businesses. Do corporations also, access or have access to eWomen Network? Like, is it corporations? Is it a possibility, or is it more like on an individual basis?
No, there are opportunities for corporations to be part of eWomen Network. There are some women who have their own, businesses that are larger businesses that have, like brick and mortar businesses that have, staff on site or staff, remotely. So it's not, just a solopreneur working out of their basement office type thing. It's a whole wide range of women who are in business. And then there's also, some corporations or some banks, for instance, that, might be a member of eWomen Network. And then they buy, like a specific membership that will actually allow them to have multiple people of their organization attend the event. So there's that possibility as well, for sure.
And it's funny, because when eWomen first started, I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's when I joined. I knew nobody in Charlotte, and that's why I went. And that's where I met Sandra for the first time, and it was awesome. When I became corporate, I dropped out because I didn't think I had anything to offer them. It's not that they didn't have anything to offer me, but I had nothing to offer to them. And for 2 years, it was the loneliest existence because I knew nobody in Dallas. I didn't have that organization to reach out to say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or this I want to celebrate, but I don't have anybody to celebrate with, or whatever. And so I dropped out. And then as soon as I became an entrepreneur again, I dropped back in. And now I realize that I didn't need to drop out at that point. There's always some reason to be where you are. And so there's a lot of advantages to it, but you also have to have it in your brain that you are valuable. And I didn't think I had anything of value to offer. And I always said, if I don't bring value, I'm out the door. And that's exactly what I did. I dropped out because I had nothing to give anyone, but I did. I had a different experience to give them, but I just didn't think it was valuable. So,
yeah, because a lot of the experiences are applicable.
Absolutely.
Whether you're working in corporate or whether you're working, as a business owner or entrepreneur.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is an extraordinary point. I think it's like and that happened even to me when I left the corporate world 3 years ago, it's like two different worlds, right? I mean, like completely. That absorb you obviously in a different way, but completely different worlds. So why would you say that people feel this? Because I was just, when you were describing it, Judy, I felt myself on the same spot. So why would you say that in general, people, or in this case women, why would you say that when they're working for larger corporations, maybe they think that they cannot contribute to other women's businesses or professions?
When you're an entrepreneur, you're looking for something, and they always say, like, what do you need in the next 30 days or whatever. When you're working corporate, you have a marketing department, you have a billing department, you have all these other people that do what entrepreneurs need to get done. So what was I going to be able to say, because I wouldn't be able to say, well, here's the VP of finance, they can do your books for you. I couldn't do anything. I didn't have that. That was my mindset. So I didn't have anything to give them because I was in this giant, building, this green glass building that I didn't own. Even though I treated it as my own business, I didn't have the resources to give what the entrepreneurs were looking for in my mind. And I was in a different space. And when you're in that different space in your head, how do you do it? You can't. And so rather than, sit at the table and say, well, I've got nothing for you, or have to buy something from every single person at the table because you feel obligated. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So for me, it was easier for me to just drop myself out. And then when I dropped myself back in, I realized that I didn't need to drop out, but it was in my head. It's in your head. It's not necessarily a totally different place because you have the same challenges that the entrepreneurs have, only you have resources to take care of it. They don't.
Exactly. Are men allowed in the women network organization?
Yeah, they are. They're not all chapters have male members. I do have a few myself. I fondly call them my emails. But yeah, they are allowed within the organization. And they're mainly men who have women as their target market kind of thing, which makes sense, right?
And when you mentioned before that you definitely have also corporate clients or corporate members in the Women Network organization, what would you say that makes them wanting to be part of the Women Network?
Because they can see the value of what eWomen Network brings. They can see that it's important for women to hang out with other women, and to collaborate, to support, all those things, the community that the average woman craves to be part of, because that's not something necessarily that corporate would offer. But it is offered in the entrepreneurial world. So it's, I think that's, the value that it will bring to those women, and to learn, expand their, grow their, because like I said before, every meeting has its own speaker and things like that. So, there's knowledge being built up, but then I think a big part of it is the sense of community that they belong to something.
when you earlier in the year, or rather said at the end of last year, you joined the Walking on the Glass Floor initiative. What was, besides being friends with Judy, what was the main reason why you felt that was a worthy cause?
Because it's supporting women in a totally different, not a totally different way, but it's the corporate world is not, it's not a world that I'm 100% familiar with in the ins and outs and things like that and how it rolls. Although I have learned a tremendous amount about that over the last 6 months. But it's for women to be seen and heard. It seems to be a theme that keeps popping up in my life. Because it gives women, if you look at corporations right now, where it's, the top layer is very, very full with a lot of men, and, there's women out there that are, wanting to be part of that top layer and don't find a way right now. And so for me to be part of something that is way bigger than what I could, just even do on my own, I think that was really drawing me in.
And we're glad you're here.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
And where do you see the future of the eWomen Network organization going?
So eWomen Network, it's at the main office is in Dallas, and it's I know that they are expanding into outside North America. So they are currently working on Australia, and I think they have actually found a lady who is going to run different events in different parts of Australia to kind of test the market and see where that will take them. So I think eWomen Network will just continue to grow. I personally, as a managing director, this is not something that I will do for the rest of my life. I'm already one of the more senior managing directors out there, because the average managing director only stays about 2-3 years. So, and I'm this month will actually be 7 years for me. So it is something that I'm, when the right person enters my sphere to hand over my chapter, I will, I'm definitely starting to kind of think about that right now. And they will just, but I will always be a part of the organization. I will always stay a member. I will always, continue to make the connections, and so I can continue to grow as well. So it will always be a part of my life. I just won't be always a managing director.
So when you think about the mastermind and eWomen and everything else that you do and so on and so forth, what would be your biggest piece of advice to give women in leadership, to have their voice and to keep their voice and to find their voice? But there's more than that. What would you say to a woman who's in a leadership position? What advice would you give her? Because you have years and years and years of advice, of experience.
Yes. And it's, there's so much I would love to, I could sit with them for hours. One of the big things is for me is I remember who you are, stay who you are, stay grounded in who you are, be, open to new opportunities, find great mentors in your life who will support you and help you and guide you along the way. Because oftentimes women think that they have to do it all alone, all by themselves, and they don't. But the asking piece is the hardest part for them, because they don't want to be seen as weak. So, it takes a lot of courage for a woman to actually reach out to somebody else, male or female, to say, hey, I need some support around whatever it is that they're looking support around. So that's some of the advice I would give.
And it sounds like it could be the same advice for emerging leaders.
Yes, very much so.
And when the different chapters of the Women Network organization meet, do you see the same kind of challenges among the members?
Yes. Yeah, I want to say yes to that. Most people, they're just, they're looking for, expanding their network, creating, receiving more clients, expanding their database. and then support in actual on how to run a business and how to move a business forward. That's pretty much, you see that all throughout North America. Yeah.
Beautiful. We have to wrap it up already. Today we have a few interviews lined up here. So I would really like to thank you for being so. For bringing so many insights, for being so humane. I would say that's something I really like of Yvonne. It's difficult for me to say Yvonne.
Me too.
But it's like so much fresh air coming to our show and getting to know exactly what happens every single day in the lives of women, in this case in the north part of North America. So I really wanted to thank you in the name of Mindalia TV, for being here with us today and for sharing your journey and for sharing your lessons, because typically the lessons are are those things that teaches us so much and so that we can do every single day. So thank you, Yvonne, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
How can we find you online? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yvonne Basten on Facebook. Whether you can friend me there or use Messenger to find me over there. That's probably the best way. And then LinkedIn as well. So Yvonne Basten.
Would you mind spelling it just for the people that are not used to your first name or last name?
Or the ones that aren't used to spelling it like that.
So it's YVONNE, Yvonne Basten, BASTEN.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Judy, where can we find you online?
You can find me at Judy Hoberman, or Walking on the Glass Floor, or Selling in a Skirt. I'm all over social media. And also my email is always Judy at Selling in a Skirt, Judy at Walking on the Glass Floor. Doesn't matter. I'm there. Awesome. And you, Angel?
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me online, obviously, but the easiest way to reach out to me is to send me an email to angel@angelribo, RIBO, B as in boy, O.com. That's the fastest way, and obviously every day, every week here at Mindalia TV, and obviously also as part of the Walking on the Glass Floor initiative, which is a blessing to be part of the team with Yvonne, with Judy, and many outstanding human beings and professionals in North America and outside North America. So thank you very much for another great interview. Thank you, Judy, for bringing Yvonne. And everybody else, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us today. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did here. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.